This podcast is dedicated to the celebration and preservation of the working Australian Shepherd. Your Aussie is descended from a proud and amazing lineage of hard-working ranch dogs, identified and cultivated primarily in the Wild West. Contrary to the breed name, the Australian Shepherd is actually an American breed success story. Only in America can a blue-eyed, scruffy dog rise from the dust of the American ranch to become one of the most popular breeds in the world today. The Aussie's beauty, brains, and incredible work ethic and almost empathic connection with their human charges make them unforgettable and pivotal members of the family. My goal is to help you understand this amazing breed, learn more about their heritage and their physical and mental needs so that together we can preserve the working Aussie by encouraging better breeding and better vetting of future Aussie owners, ultimately keeping Aussies with their families and out of shelters. Welcome to the Instinctive Australian Shepherd. Welcome back to the Instinctive Australian Shepherd. This is Jacque Tinker. I am here with my guest today, Erin Eckert from Texarkana, Texas, with Outline Australian Cattle Dogs.
Yeah.
So we're doing the Australian dogs today, but not the same breed. We're going to talk about Australian Cattle Dogs and Australian Shepherds today. So welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm super happy you could come down. We were working dogs today in the rain.
Yep.
So talk to me about your kennel, the resources you have, and a little bit about how you got into cattle dogs.
All right. Well, I've been in dogs for a long time. It's kind of like a childhood thing for me. So grew up with dogs, wanted my own dogs, and got into Australian cattle dogs, just kind of something I thought I wanted as a kid. And they just happened to fit me really well.
Cool.
So I've kind of done, kind of like you, all the show things, all the things growing up. So juniors and confirmation, agility, rally, obedience, all the stuff, and then made my way into herding and breeding. And then you were talking about the resource stuff. So in our quest to further the breed as far as a working dog, I say me and Rebecca Elder, started the Working ACD resource, which is on Facebook. So it's a Facebook group. And we do let people with other breeds in because some people like to come and see the clinic listings or whatever that we have to offer, or just read along. But a place where people with working Australian cattle dogs can gather and talk and share videos and pictures and information.
You're really good about doing video of your dogs.
Yeah, it kind of started a couple years ago. I had some friends that did like the 100 days of dog training challenge.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and so they were like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I was just working stock at the time, so that's what I was training. It's what I filmed, and I put my stuff out there, and people are like, well, we don't get to see very many healers doing this kind of stuff very often. So it just kind of grew from that. And once you start putting your stuff out there, you get a little bit less like self-conscious about it. So it just got easier.
The podcasting thing is easy for me, but the video has not been. I have tons and tons of video that are just waiting to be put out there, but I'm all like, no, I don't want to show that mistake right there. But I actually think it's okay to show the mistakes.
Oh, yeah, that's been my thing from the beginning because, well, and that kind of started too when I would go looking for training videos. Number one, all you see are border collies. And number two, they let the dog off the leash and it just magically does the thing. And you're like, well, how did you train it to do that? Because my dog doesn't look anything like that. So it got to where I was like, well, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. And we all screw up, and our dogs all screw up. And as long as nothing's getting mauled in a video, then I don't feel too bad about posting it because, you know, dogs are going to do stupid stuff. I make mistakes. And to be honest with you, since I train alone a lot of the time, watching my own videos and seeing like, oh, look what you did there has really kind of helped me get a little bit better.
What were you thinking at that exact moment?
Or like the come by. Oh, well, yeah, I didn't want you to come by anyway.
Wrong flank. Well, when I was competing at finals last year, I was so tired. And one of my friends, actually Copper's breeder, Marty, pulled me aside and said, do you know you're giving all the flanks wrong? And I said, probably, because I'm so tired I don't remember my name right now. So And she goes, well, he's not taking him. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
He's doing what he wants to do
All
anyway.
right, then.
And then we wonder why our dogs aren't listening.
That's right, because they have those moments of absolute brilliance, and they can figure stuff out. And the next minute, you're in the clinch, and they blow it and don't take the right flank.
Yeah, and I was reading some posts the other day about just somebody, sometimes you just need to shut up and let your dog work. And it's like, sometimes I need to learn that a little bit. Or sometimes things are going and you're just like, there's no words that can come out of my mouth at this point. So just let it happen. And hopefully they make the right decision.
Well, exactly, especially if you're running on ducks or something like that. It goes so fast, you really can't. You can try to tell them every little thing, and you do tell them some things, but at some point they need to learn part of the jobs because it goes so fast, you can't flank them fast enough or whatever. And today it was raining, and I was getting feed out, and I just had Copper hold the gate. Usually I just shut the gate so I don't have to deal with it, but I had him hold the gate, and the sheep were trying to bust past him. And I was just like, watch him. Because he knows that's his command to keep him back. I couldn't tell him go by way to me fast enough for him to respond. He had to know the game and know what we were doing and then respond on his own without me. And I think that's the most amazing part, actually.
I do too. Yeah, it is cool.
I think I interfere. I cause more problems than I help sometimes when we're out there.
Yeah, sometimes I think you try to be too much of a part of the team. It's like the dog has his job and you have your job, and sometimes you just have to step back and just do your job, even if that just means holding the gate open and let the dog do their part.
Yeah, or like if you're trying to pen some cows or you're holding your side. You cover your side and let the dog do his. If he knows the job putting him in the pen, then he knows his side.
Yeah, and it's hard when you bring the dog up from puppyhood on and you've been there and you've helped him along. And so then, things are in the crunch and you're like, can I just help you a little? And it's like, no, just
or the mistakes they're going to make. And you have to be like, oh, please don't make that mistake. Please, please, please. But anyway, I think part of the reluctance in posting videos is that I'll address this now, and I'll probably address it again because it's something, we have a very critical audience sometimes. You have people that are just flat out mean.
Oh, yeah.
And people who are like, you're an idiot, and just they're mean. And they judge you so harshly. That's a weak-ass dog, or you don't even understand the situation.
I had that maybe a couple days ago. Somebody was like, you never see working healers anymore. So I posted like 5 or 6 videos. And then, of course, one of the very first comments was, well, those cows look really broke to me. I was like, well, yeah, but they didn't get that way because my dogs are terrible.
Yeah, they got broke because my dogs work them.
Not only that, but it's like then you can tell the people didn't really watch the videos because it was 3 different dogs and 3 different places on different sets of cattle. So it's like, no, you didn't watch. You just wanted to criticize, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But that's when you kind of know, like, it's fine to step back and just not go into this with this person because
they obviously
there's no point.
Don't know anything about dogs or working dogs,
or they
cattle.
don't want to see the value in what you have,
which
is fine too.
Or those rodeo junkies. I've left some groups because they just, oh my God, they just want to stir stuff up and they just want the dogs to have a rodeo.
Yeah,
hit the heads, hit the heels. Well, you have to give cows away, with cows especially. You have to be fair to them. They have to have a place to escape, or you're going to have a mean cow that's going to fight a dog. And let's face it, guys, not all of us live on ranches with rank cows and the numbers, and that's more rare than common.
Most people don't, and I think a lot of times, even when you're running a lot of cattle, depending on what you're doing with them, you can be as hands-on or as hands-off as what suits your operation, and that's what kind of dogs you need to have, is dogs that can handle what kind of stock that you have.
Yeah. And we have to constantly, I think we forget about the stockmanship part of it as well. If you're really running cattle for a real operation that you really want to sell them for money, when your dog's running them up and running them around, there's dollar signs just floating off the back of those cows.
Yeah.
Because they're losing weight, they're stressing out. That's not stockmanship.
Right.
Right. I think that's kind of an old school thought that hopefully we're transitioning out of. But anyway, so we came together because we met each other about 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's
our
been
females
our young
are 7
dogs.
Years
Well, they're old dogs now. They're not old, but
our young dogs were 2. So I guess 5 years ago we met trialing in Aska or
Aska. Yep.
So we've just kind of touched, and 5 years have flown by. But I think one of the things that we both care about is how do we raise the bar for our dogs?
Right.
People can see the value of a loose-side dog. There's a value in a loose-eyed dog, we're talking about Australian Shepherds, Australian cattle dogs, almost all breeds except Kelpies and Border Collies,
Right,
for the most
exactly.
part.
Yeah.
And so for those of you that the Kelpies and the Border Collies have more of a stare, they stay off their stock farther, they're more predatory, I guess, stalking their stock in a way. And then the stock responds to them differently. Although we do have, examples in the Border Collie world, they're cattle bred Border Collies are more upright and
Yeah,
in
usually a
close
little
and they're
bit more free moving or
less eye.
Yep.
So, the breeds change, but I think it's more of a behavior and a way that the dogs approach stock is more of the loose-eyed type thing. But they don't always, people don't think they do well at trials.
Yeah, or
know.
that they're only, I guess, good for hobbyists, or they're only good for really broke stock, or they're not going to be able to dog break cattle, or probably even wild sheep or range sheep or whatever. But there are lots of dogs out there who can do that.
I think I think one thing that I noticed differently is the way that the dogs communicate with the livestock. The closer they are, the more communication they have to have, the more less threatening they have to be to get closer. I know I ran some sheep trials this last summer, and Copper was able to get much closer to his stock than the Border Collies. Some of the Border Collies could, because he knows how to communicate somehow. And the loose-eyed dogs are more comfortable closer.
They can be, yeah.
So they have to learn to turn their power off and to turn their eye and to just really, tone it down so they can be where they want to be.
And some of the tactics that those dogs use to be able to do that, a lot of Border Collie people would say is not working. I have Reese with a little bit of eye, and then she's got a daughter also with a little bit of eye. And the funny thing about both of those is if they can feel the bubble, and so they'll be eyed up and they're on the bubble. If they want to get closer, they'll drop their head and start to sniff. And they're working stock because they're moving in a manner to move stock, but they're dropping their head and making themselves less predatory in order to be able to get closer to the livestock, which is where they want to be. Now, they can use that power for good or bad.
Being up close.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my dog did that too. Copper was moving a sick ewe, and she kept wanting to fight with him, and he would just put his head down and sniff the ground and eat the grass, and he was watching her out of
And
his
a lot of times mine, when you move a ewe with lambs, they kind of do that too. They're moving the stock, but they're kind of dropping their head and turning their power way down. And it almost looks like a weak dog, like somebody with an eye breed would say, oh, that's a weak dog. Well, that's just what they do to compensate for the lack of that eye that they don't have in those
closer.
Situations and wanting to get closer to the stock.
I think it's one of their tactics. It's not really compensation because it's not really a weakness.
Yeah.
It's like their tactic. Oh, I can do this and I can get closer, and I put pressure on, wait a few steps. Oh, she's freaking out, so I'm going to... There's like a very close communication going on there. And they have to learn, because they want to be close, they have to have several tactics in their toolbox so that they can learn and turning their eye away, and turning their head away and giving the sheep space, and turning their shoulder away is one of their other tactics that they use to be able to get close and have the sheep in there.
Yeah, and mine, which I don't use a down on livestock with my own dogs, I use a stand or a standing stop. And so a lot of times mine too will they'll lay down if they want to try to get in closer.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I use a stand with my trained dogs. We start usually with a down, but I don't know if you find this or not, but Aussies and I think most loose-eye breeds feel like a down is a punishment.
Well, they lose a lot of their power, is what I was told when I was starting out by a person who works a lot of upright breeds. Is she said, when you down your dog, they lose their power, and it's almost as if the stock sheep, especially, think the dog kind of disappeared. And then when you ask the dog up for a walk up, they pop back into the sheep's view so quickly that it startles them, and then they lose control of the stock because they've just busted into the bubble
from the down.
Sometimes
they don't. I find that sometimes on that topic, I call it getting up responsibly. Like they don't get up responsibly; they pop up.
And I see that too. Yeah,
backing. Sometimes they'll back into a stand, or they'll walk up. I train them to not. They have to
not
get up
to pop
responsibly.
up like that.
Yeah,
But
Get up
that's the
responsibly.
difference. So that would be the difference between me learning that whenever I was a beginner herder and not even thinking about that fact, like what you said, making them get up responsibly. Because I do that now. Like
Yeah.
when I ask them to walk up, even though my dogs are standing, you have to walk up with purpose, not just blow up and bust in. You have to walk with purpose.
I like that, with purpose, because it's also not walking up and sniffing around and not focusing that they're walking in with power, but it has to be moderated power to get the job done.
And that'll depend on what the stock do, right? So it's not just, sometimes they can do it faster. They can go from a stand to a trot if that's what's necessary, but it depends on the response of the livestock.
Yeah, and that down also puts them out. I think it affects the contact. I think that puts them a little bit out of contact. And, you know.
And not saying that a down is bad. If people want to use a down on livestock, it works for all types of dogs. But know that if you're having a lot of trouble with that transition between your dog being down and then your dog standing up to take control of the stock and move them again, if your livestock are anxious or bothered by that, then you may have one or two problems, or one of a few problems, and your dog not moving with purpose out of the down may be part of it, which was part of my first dog's problem. I had a solid down on him.
Yeah.
But he came up out of it like...
Explosion.
Yeah.
Mine too. That was Harley, just explosion. That is her. Tasmanian devil running around. But I think that also, if you're having a hard time getting it down while they're working, you may consider transitioning to a stand. But you can't compromise your standards on the stand. You know, I if they don't stand and stop moving when I say it, then they're going to a down.
Yeah.
It's their consequence for not standing. You're going to a down. And, you know, oftentimes working cattle, trialing, working cattle, you kind of want the dogs on their feet as much as possible if they can control their movement and not have happy feet where they're constantly moving. That drives me crazy. One of my dogs has that.
Tosses
please.
happy feet.
Rangers like that. Please stop moving.
So do you find that, because I know we were talking about this earlier, do you find that the dogs with the happy feet are more naturally to wear?
Good question. He's pretty good about... Probably because they have to go somewhere, or else they're going to push.
Yep.
Really fast. They have to take that energy
That's
somewhere.
what I noticed in mine, is that if they tend to want to keep their feet moving all the time. They tend to be a more natural to wear dog, and usually a little bit less eye.
And they'll just start drifting. If I get him to go on a straight line and take the sweet spot, but he'll start drifting because he has to keep moving those feet.
Instead of adjusting his speed, he just wants to move laterally.
And his brain starts tumbling. The faster his feet go, you can see his brain falling down the stairs. And every now and then I'll be like, hey, just stand.
Yeah. Just
lie down.
Get it together.
Take a breath. Walk up. Because it's just it just tumbles forward with him. Like he hasn't learned yet to manage that.
Well, if they're not in control of their feet, I guess they're not in control of their brain, right?
That's a good point. The happy feet, I think that is not an uncommon problem.
No, I don't think so either. I think it's fairly common.
And I think it's genetic too.
Yeah.
You know, his litter mate sister does not have that. She doesn't have happy feet, but I can see where it came from his mother's line, you know. So I think that's a consideration when we get to the topic of genetics. So we talked about, you know, upping our game. That's really important to us. Like, keep growing as trainers. And we were talking about our past dogs and what we didn't know before and what we know now. Let's talk about trialing is kind of like the test of your training. I love it because I love competing and I just think it's super fun. But every time I'm out there in the arena, I'm running a run and I'm thinking, okay, Monday we're going to be working on this and this and this. Like, it's your test of training. So what are some things that we need to up our training and with our loose-eyed dogs to be, because people often will say, oh, the loose-eyed dogs can't compete with border collies. They can't compete with that. Maybe not, but the day's not over yet.
Right.
You know, we have been improving our breeds. We should be able to be more competitive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as a trainer or a breeder or just somebody who has an affinity for a specific breed, wants to further that purpose of that breed, I think you should always be trying to do more or do better. And that's as an individual, but also as a collective, and that's where the kind of the groups and stuff online kind of come in a little bit, because it would be real nice for people to be able to foster opinions and discuss without, I guess, not judgment, because I don't mind a little bit, but
Right.
without feeling like, well, if I put out this bad information about my dog, then people are just going to think he's terrible, because all dogs have faults and all people do, and we can all do better. And it's just nice to know, like, instead of saying, well, he's a working trial champion or a herding champion, so he's absolutely perfect, I mean,
Yeah.
and so stepping outside of that, well, if it has a title, then it obviously works. Or if it has a this, then it obviously does that. Because that's not always exactly true. And there are many, many, many different ways of getting to an end goal, that may or may not be as pretty.
Right. And people may want
Or as
different-
natural.
Yeah.
Or as natural.
Yeah.
Because a lot of arena trialing is... can be obedience.
It's very unnatural.
Oh, it is.
Normally out in my place, I don't take my sheep through a chute randomly placed in the middle of the arena.
Or like where you're standing at a specific spot and you don't ever move.
Right. Yeah. It is very artificial. And, if we get to the point where we all had a little bit thicker skin and we didn't get butt hurt too badly when people said something, and if people would be more constructive in their criticism rather than saying that's a weak ass dog, or I wouldn't own that dog, or what was one I heard? Oh yeah, of the cattle finals dogs, somebody said of Aska's cattle finals, I wouldn't feed one of those dogs. I'm like,
Not
okay,
a one.
not even the one,
Not a one.
not even the one that won cattle finals and lives in my sleeps on my bed at night, but none of them. I was like, wait, that's not helpful at all. That just rips down everything.
Some comments are not helpful, and you don't have to like everybody else's dog in order to just be polite. But also, I think it would be fair to call out at times and say, like, well, there was a 98% Q rate at that trial. Maybe we ought to look at the livestock. How often do they turn over their stock, or how fair is that? And
well, that's a good point too, because we got that's a whole thing to get into. Some of those trials where
or particular judge. I don't know. I don't trial as much as you do. So, but you hear the politics and you see the things, and you know what the word on the street is about where to go or where not to go.
Oh yes, there are. Yes. I'm in politically sensitive territory now, so
we can
change the subject. So, but no, I mean, it's true. Everywhere you go has different challenges and strengths and weaknesses, and we all have a different definition of what we want in our dogs. And I think that definition, if we can foster and encourage each other and bring out ideas, like you and I are having this great discussion about, well, should I train it this way or not? And then we're talking back and forth, and nobody's getting their feelings hurt. We're just like pushing on each other, thinking, push harder, try harder, think about this more.
Yeah, and it just to take the thoughts out of the box, it doesn't mean you have to agree with it, or it may not change the way you think about anything, but to be able to have that conversation and not get upset about it.
Yeah, because we all approach everything a little bit differently, and if we could do all that and encourage each other, we would all become better, instead of a comment that just says something negative without any like, hey, did you think about what happens if you flanked him this way and you stopped him here and you did that? Would that help? That's a constructive comment. Well, I hadn't thought about that before. Some of the groups I'm in on Facebook are much better than others. Some of them I've left because
usually if it's a toxic environment, I kind of leave.
It doesn't help anybody. But okay, so when we're talking about trialing and improving, going back to our topic here, what are the hardest things, or what are the things that we're weak on in the trial arena? Loose-eyed breeds, I think. Let's just kind of talk about us, because we are.
For me, or what I see pretty consistently, and some in my own dogs and some in other people's dogs, is the ability to get control of stock that does not want to be controlled. So you do go to places where the stock want to try to hide in obstacles, or they want to try to always run for the draw, and a lot of the loose-eyed breeds, I think, have trouble because they're not like zoned in on that leader of the group. They're working the whole group. So if you've got one that wants to break, they're not always in a position to cover that. And that may be because they're too close. Yeah. But it may be because they're not having the big picture in mind. They're getting sucked into the movement part of it.
Yes. They're too close. They can't.
Too close. Can't react to anything that they inevitably pushed out of the group. Because if they weren't encroaching on that bubble, right, then the group wouldn't split. Because sheep want to be together. Now, cattle, not so much.
Right.
So...
Yeah.
You can always have the lone cow that wants to break.
Yes, you have 3 that don't know each other and they just got tossed out together.
Sheep, and I kind of think I guess I'm thinking about sheep too when I was talking about animals that want to break or hide in obstacles, because it's not usually cattle that do that.
Usually they'll tail up and run in 3 different directions or 5
and that's
different
if the dog's pushing too hard, usually.
And they're too tight. Yeah, that rate thing I think is hard for our dogs to do, because mine, the Aussies, just want to, they're just type A, like get there as fast as we can, as straight of a line as we can. And that's
and cattle dogs are the same way a lot of time. And then, there's a... I guess I don't think it's in our standard, but it may be in the working standard that the Australian cattle dog is very skilled at picking out the troublemaker. And I think some of them do that to a fault. Like if you have one that wants to split or wants to break, they really want to punish that one. And it's like, that's not always fair. Just cover it nicely and just encourage it to go back to the group. You don't have to just punish it until it's upset.
Well, and with mine, it's like Copper rules the ranch. This is his place. And if they don't obey him, they know that they're going to get in trouble. Well, he's gotten better about it. But with that young age where you're just starting to get your control on them and you're trialing and they see this new stock and the stock is not acting the way he expects them to act, he wants to make them act that way. He wants to dog break them. He wants to
and they get a little frantic about it.
And then that doesn't work. You have to learn to be like, okay, they don't have to work the way you want them to work. We just have to get them through these spaces. And they can learn that if you teach them. And there's a maturity and mileage and not allowing them to get into those fights.
Oh, yeah.
When they want to. I think that the fights happen more because they get sucked in.
They do, yeah.
Because they're closer.
I think so, too.
It's like a vortex.
And a little of it is, and like we wouldn't have picked the breeds that we picked if we didn't like that a little bit in ourselves. So sometimes I think we let the dog maybe like, oh, well, let's just see what's going to happen here. And that's not always the smartest thing to do as the person either.
Oh, and Aussies are totally me. I'm totally an Aussie and I am not ashamed of it, I guess. Type A personality, want things done quickly, fastly, efficiently.
Yeah.
Now.
Yep.
That's totally my personality. That's why I have Aussies. They fit me so well. I think, so, what was the other thing? Coming off balance, I think, is a hard thing for a loose-eyed dog to learn, is coming off that balance point. And we were talking about this a little bit ago. Maybe we focus too much on fetching. Maybe it's I know that I'm trying with my young dog now to balance the fetching and the driving from the beginning. It's my experiment. I know some people are cringing and screaming at the phone or their TVs or their phones right now saying, no, don't do it.
I do. And that came from the same person that was talking to me about the down, when I first started. And she starts a lot of hers out on a line. And not anything unique or different, I don't think, than other people who use a long line. But she said, if I have the opportunity to let my dog drive stock down the field and put him out a gate, I use it. And I've just put him on the line, and I can tell him come by and away, and they don't know what that means, but I can pull them in that direction. I can make the flank correct. I could tell them their walk and put them on the line to walk the stock where they need to go, and I can control the speed. The dog gets the experience. They get that confidence boost. And are they learning how to drive? Oh, we'll see how it progresses, but it can't hurt, right?
Right. I think experiences are the key in keeping them under control and calm so that they're not freaking out.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously you're not doing this with a lunging dog that's like just trying to get to your livestock.
That's right.
So, yeah, it has to be under control, and the dog has to be in the right state of mind, but you let him work when he is, and then you just guide that experience by pulling him on a square flank and telling them come by our way and there, walk up. And you can use your stop command and get them stopped. And
I think along with that, when you're sending them on, one of the things that I struggle with time and points is everyone I've been to has a fetch, an outrun, lift, and fetch. So they come outrun, they get to the top, and they're supposed to fetch them through panels typically to get on course and to start this. My dogs will be so into that drive, almost obsessed with that fetch, and they don't want to come off. They don't want to slow down. They don't want to pay attention to me saying, hey, flank over here a little bit, because they're so, they can't even hear you, I don't think, sometimes.
Yeah.
Because fetch, must fetch sheep.
Well, and I've noticed even with mine, too, you can say that away, and they maybe take one or two steps in that direction, but they're like, no, but I was still bringing them, so...
I'm not done with the task yet.
I'm not done yet.
The task is, and so maybe that, to me, is a sign as a trainer that I need to maybe not do as many repetitions in certain things that are this. If I repeat over and over the same outrun task, they think that the whole task is complete when the sheep come running past me. Instead of teaching them to stop and walk in, that more control thing. These are just like finer points of training that don't occur to you until you actually get out there and start doing hard stuff. Because the hard stuff really leaves you in the dirt, but it also you realize, oh my gosh, I need to go back and train some more.
Yeah, like that's what I come away with from trials is like, well, if my dog had cleaner flanks, squared off better, and did it with speed or did it with this or that, then we would have done better, or we would have been able to get those cows turned into that obstacle instead of scooting by on the edge or whatever, or missing one, or because a lot of those turns, into obstacles and stuff when they're not on the fence line, that's what kills you is that the dog wasn't square enough or wasn't far enough off of them and wasn't fast enough.
Yeah. I think also trying to push ourselves. I don't think we should stay in the same patterns that we know. I know, every program has its strengths and weaknesses. ASCA has 7 or 8 courses. I can't remember exactly, all the way through letter H, A through H, whatever that is. And there are some courses that are mostly on the fence, and then there's some courses that have some off the fence obstacles. But, HBA is the same way.
They have, a few select courses.
They can let you make up your own courses too with one of their programs.
AKC, the farm
HRD.
Ranch dog or whatever is more like set up to. But again, it's the same thing. It's you kind of, most ranches don't change up their layout very often. So if you go to the same ranch every year in trial, you're probably going to run into the same exact ranch course that you did last year.
Correct. Because
they've only got so many gates and so many sorts and so many options for you to run through. So
right. And you have to set it up so that you're automatically resetting yourself each time. So it's very limited, and that's a good point. Pushing ourselves to get outside of our comfort zone and just get ready to fall on your face. That's like the first time I'm like, here I go. It's going to happen. And it happened my last cattle trial. It was my first cattle trial with this dog, and I just lost my mind. I was just frozen. I couldn't even think of commands. I was just like, I think he kept looking at me like, what do you want me to do? And I just the guy that went before me is the one that won. He had a perfect score, perfect run. That's also intimidating, right? And running an open for the first time was intimidating, and I just froze. And even though I trial a million times, it's a new environment.
Oh, your brain
different. Just sometimes can't deal. Like mine just can't deal with
anytime you change something up, that's why it's always good to go to somebody else's place or different stock or what I think would be fun, and I haven't ever done it, but I would love to we could go to the sale barn, we could pick up 20 calves and bring them back to the ranch and have a fun day of it.
That'd be awesome. That's a really good idea. I'm going to write that down.
But invite some people that that are working dogs or whatever, and
that'd be awesome.
We could just work the cattle around, and
dog break
them. And then if we get to the point where we could do some obstacles, I like having barrels, just available for whatever. Just put your barrels out there and make a figure 8 or a cross or, whatever. And
I use cones.
yeah.
Or agility jumps. Old agility jump wings. Not the jump part, but the wings that hold the jumps. They're being perfect obstacles, and they're not heavy and you don't have to lug stuff around. That is a great idea.
But doing it in a fun way and like inclusive and inviting people and saying, if things don't go right, somebody's going to be here to help you and we can all get this done together and figure out what's going on or why you're not having success.
Okay. Fall. We'll have to put it in our calendar. We need to find a date this fall
I'm down.
do that. Yeah, because everybody could throw in some cash up front, or one person could just buy them and
$500
sell them
entry fee and
buy some calves, and we'll just work the heck out of them. Because a lot of people do not get the chance to work fresh cattle. A lot of trialers, a lot of, even I don't work fresh cattle very often. Well, I buy cattle a couple times, at least once a year for training. So I do that, but not a lot of people have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So that is an awesome idea.
And then, you just do like one day where you're just kind of breaking the cattle in and then the next day, like we're just going to run a mock trial.
Well, and you're going to get, in theory, with my experience with sale barn cattle, you don't know what you're going to get. You get wild hares. Last 6 I got were wild hares. They were crazy. That I couldn't even get within 200 feet of them myself. So, that's the part of the excitement of it, is that you have no idea what you're going to get.
Yeah.
And teach people how to dog break cows properly. I like it. We're going to do it.
Or, you could do it with sheep or goats too.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Both.
Or all of the above.
That may be kind of a busy, long weekend. But that is a really good idea. Very good idea. I like it. Just thinking of things like this is a great idea to try and challenge ourselves and to make a community of people that get together and make ourselves better. I try with really good people in Alaska. They're amazing. Their dogs are great. They train. I don't win often. Very often at all do I win. And, my goal is like win one class a weekend. Now I'm up to 2. I can win 2 classes a weekend. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't. But you know what? I don't ever leave bitter.
No.
Because I'm like, okay, that's someone I can chase. Someone I don't want to be the top dog. I really don't, because first of all, you get knocked down pretty quick.
Oh, and there's a lot of pressure to stay.
There's a lot of pressure. Also, you're not growing typically.
Right.
That's
and a lot of those, and not saying that everybody's like that, but a lot of the people that are at the top of their game in the venue that they're trialing in, they've been doing it a long time. They've had multiple dogs. They've been at the top. And not saying that it's easy for them or that it's an easy journey no matter what. But once you've done it a few times, how many times do you have to prove to yourself that you can do it?
Right. Well, sometimes it's like,
so
what is the new
step out
challenge?
and just do something different.
Do something different. And unless you are growing and constantly pushing yourself, you can't stay there. The people that stay there are the people that are pushing themselves. And they're working hard at it, and they're growing, because you can't.
Yeah, and a lot of my own goals, like for myself or my dogs, don't have anything to do with the titles that they get or the, whatever that we, I might go to a trial and I don't know. I've just worked on a few things, or I pick up, like you said, I pick up things that I need to work on and I go work those things. And it doesn't matter if the dog qualified or didn't qualify, or did we look like a fool or not? I don't know.
Trust me.
We've all looked like a fool.
You're going to look like a fool. Even when you've been doing it for a long time, there's going to be moments when you're going to look like a fool. And you just can't even think about that.
Well, and that's the other thing is, like, this is me out here with a dog that has his own brain, and sheep or cattle that each individually have their own brain.
That's right.
And we all have to coordinate in order for this to just look great. And most of the time we are not coordinating.
And
not all on the same page.
Yes, we're not all of us on the same page. And it's different. It's the hardest sport.
It is.
I really think that it's the hardest sport. I know some of those bite work people kind of poo-poo the herding thing. I'm like, you have no idea how hard this is. This is so hard because you are going in different stock and different places, and people train differently on their stock or don't train on their stock, or there's just so many variables. And so I think it's like one of the hardest things, and because you have to also have a finesse of understanding and feeling. If you can feel what's going on, with the bubble and the sheep, you can maneuver those things a little bit easier. So it's like you can grow as a person and grow into your abilities if you want to. And it's hard. And people that starting out at this, it's hard. And you think, oh, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to get successful. You just push through, get this first dog trained, and then the next dog is easier.
Oh, and well, that's a good point too. And then I get a lot of people that are like, well, I don't want to screw my dog up. Like, because I do train dogs for other people, and they're like, well, I don't want to do anything with him until I send him for training because I don't want to mess him up. Mess him up. It's all fixable. I mean, and there are going to be some things that, yeah, it might be a bad habit and you can't really get out of easily, but at the same time, you don't learn anything if you don't try. And part of learning is messing up.
That's right. And you can actually mess up your dog by not messing him up. I had my dog Wyatt. I was so afraid I'd make a mistake with him because he was so nice and really lovely. I just kept fetching with him forever because I didn't know the next step. I'm like, what's the next step? Where do I go? I didn't even know. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to keep fetching. Well, shoot, it was really hard to get him to stop fetching because it was genetically a strong thing in him anyway. He comes from a line of strong fetchers. So I just reinforced that, and by trying not to mess up, I messed up. But it was fixed, and he did it. He's a beautiful driving dog now. But don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Just get out there and get dirty and figure it out because you'll learn. And then you'll look back and go, oh my goodness, that dog taught me so much. And then the next dog, every single dog.
And there's where the video comes in handy again, right? Because you don't ever have to show it to anybody, but you can go back and watch it and, you can see, where did your dog cut in early? Where were you in the wrong place? Why were the cattle not coming through the gate? Oh, because I was standing in the middle of the gate.
How many times have I done that? So many times.
Waving my arms like I'm doing jumping jacks.
Oh, that's why I don't carry a stick anymore. I don't use a stick in a trial arena because it's like a lightsaber sword fight in the air, and the dog's like, what is going on? I'm just swinging the stick around, and I don't even carry a stick anymore. It's too embarrassing. So, but that's just the thing.
But yeah, you don't have to show anybody, but you can learn a lot from watching yourself.
And I'll tell you,
even if you don't know what you're looking for, you can just at least see what didn't work.
Right. And I'll tell you, even on your 5th and 6th and 10th dog, you're going to make mistakes.
You're going to mess something up.
Yeah, you are. You're going to mess something up, and you'll be like in the middle of the night, what was I thinking? Hope I didn't ruin that dog. And most of the dogs you're not going to ruin because they're forgiving of us.
Yeah, especially any dog that really wants to do this herding and they have natural herding instinct and ability. I tell people all the time, you're not going to take that away from him. People are like, well, he wants to chase my horses. Get on to him. Hard, like life or death hard, because horses will kill a dog. And it's life or death if you plan to ever ride this horse in the presence of the dog and you get on the horse and the dog wants to herd it. It's life or death. Get on to him.
Vet bills are really expensive, from what I've heard.
But they learn.
Right.
A horse is not a cow. It's not a sheep. It's not a duck. I'm not allowed to work a horse, but I am allowed to work these other things.
Same with chickens. Yeah. I hear that one all the time. My dog's killing the chickens, or my dog won't leave the chickens alone. I'm afraid I'll take away their herding. No, you won't.
Yeah, if it's in there and they really want to work and they want to work with you, then they'll figure it out.
They'll know. Yeah, and we have to give them more credit. I think we make a lot of excuses, and that's why we're having a conversation about upping our game. We make a lot of excuses for our dogs instead of having high expectations.
Yep.
And I think in this world, we're also competing against a lot of people who, what's the word? The fur baby people that coddle their dogs,
the dogs
and don't
too much. And he licked his lips. He was a little nervous, or this was hard for him. Well, it is hard. Things are hard. Life is hard. Herding is hard. And even if they're bred for it and they want to do it, it's not that they're not ever going to struggle or they're not ever going to have a hard day.
Right. I mean, it's a hard job. I mean, I've had my dogs out in the pouring rain and hail trying to get sheep in, and if you don't have a dog that can push through that,
and the heat and I mean, we both live in Texas, so it's hot and humid in the summer, and it doesn't matter what time of day you go outside.
Just like they need as much grit as we do. We're out there raising livestock, pulling lambs and doing whatever else we're doing out in the pastures and fields and barns. They need to have the same grit, and they do. Most of them do.
Most of them do.
And that's
Dogs are smart though, and they learn when somebody is, I guess, not going to make them do stuff, which is, I think, where the pet thing comes in. Like, I guess I just don't. There are certain things that my dogs don't have a choice in the matter. Like nails are going to get cut if you have, which I don't have long-coated dogs at all. But if you have a burr or you have a sticker or a mat or a whatever, it's going to get looked at.
You're going to have a bath.
Yeah. You're going to go in a crate. You're going to walk on a leash and be nice.
They don't mind that stuff. It makes them a better
creature
and makes them happier.
Well, we made dogs. Humans made dogs. So if they're not able to acquiesce to our requests, then we're doing them a disservice.
And the funny thing is, my dogs, I mean, I don't know. They would do anything, turn themselves inside out 4 times to be able to go and work. Pick me, pick me, pick me. Who am I going to take out there? They're all jumping up and down barking, pick me, pick me. I want to do that. And that's the coolest thing is partnering up with a dog like that I work my dogs and I'm like, man, it's freaking amazing that they can do this.
It's so cool.
They're a dog. It is a dog.
And if you step back and you think about the communication, like you just communicated with your dog, with an animal, how to control these other animals. That's so cool.
And not every dog can do it. And so the ones that you get are super special. And it just blows my mind. I guess I'll have to quit training whenever it becomes not interesting and not amazing anymore.
Yeah. Because
it just blows my mind every single time. And the more I do this, the better I get and the closer I get to my dogs. Like you seriously, people that are listening to this podcast that don't have working Aussies or don't have any intention of working your Aussies, just train your dogs. Go find a dog training club to join and do tracking or agility or obedience or something, because when you spend that time with them and you train with them, the bond you have it's just, you can't even describe it. So much stronger than just if you scratch their belly on the couch. I mean, that's fine too.
Yeah, it's all good, but they're just as happy to get their butt scratched on the couch when they worked for you earlier that day as they are if all they did was lay on the couch all day and then you came and scratched their butt for 30 minutes before you go to bed.
There's a depth of relationship that's built when you do something with your dogs.
And the breeds that we chose, they were bred to have that relationship, that working relationship with humans, and that they respect that. And when you have that mutual respect between the dog and you, it's just no other, it's like no other relationship that you'll have with the dog.
Hey, and that's the show today. Thanks for joining me. I hope you really enjoyed it and got to learn something about this amazing breed, the Australian Shepherd. Join us on Facebook. We have a private group called the Instinctive Australian Shepherd. Join the group and join the conversation there. You can also find us online at theinstinctiveaussie.com. That's where you'll find all the show notes, the links to anything we talked about this show, and all of our past episodes. Subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever else you find your favorite podcasts, and that way you'll be the first ones to know as soon as an episode is uploaded. All right, everyone, I'll see you down the road.